Okay, hello and welcome to my next narrated battle against Dissent. Now, this was quite a good match, although we had half the same Pokemon, but we did have different movesets. We both led with Swamperts, and we both led with Stealth Rock on our first turn, so the rocks were up right from the beginning. Now, he had Roar on his Swampert and I didn't, so my Waterfall hits him and he brings out my Bulkyments, which is pretty bad. I didn't want that to be revealed so quick, but I guess that's just how Roar goes sometimes. I sort of predict an Ice Beam and go to Vaporeon, but he roars again, so that was a good prediction on his part. But it brings out another negative Pokemon for me. You know, Heatran is not taking on Swampert anytime soon. So I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't roar again here. And luckily he doesn't. He must be predicting a Grass Switch or something, because he does Ice Beam this time. And he freezes me, which really sucked. But thankfully, I thawed out in the same turn. Don't know why I rusted. I guess I was just wanting to protect Scizor as long as possible. But his Roar brings out Vaporeon, so I'm finally in a sort of decent position. If he roars again, I reckon that Wish would be the best setup, but he doesn't. He gets a crit on the Earthquake, which completely sucked. But I can protect this turn to make sure that Vaporeon gets the healing which it desperately needed, just to keep it in the game. And Roar fails as a result, thank God for that. Now, I kind of expect to Roar here, so I go for Surf and get a crit, so I guess it's 2-all in hacks now. And Scizor comes out. Now, at this point, I might be unboosted, but I'm reckoning Max Attack Superpower would KO from here. Apparently not. He lives by what must be anywhere between 1 and 10 hit points or something. And Earthquake's on my weakened defense, which kind of sucks. But I probably should have Bullet Punched this move, but I didn't trust it. I do not want to take a -1 resisted Bullet Punch, as a shot there. So I KO with the Superpower, making sure I have to switch now. Now, his Gliscor predicts this and uses Earthquake this time, which does a hell of a lot. It's a Life Orb one, but I really didn't expect it to do that much. Now, he mispredicted and thought Salamence was coming back in here, so his Stone Edge didn't matter. But unfortunately, I couldn't quite survive this Earthquake, which disappointed me. I thought I could survive that, but I guess not. Now, Swampert forces Gliscor away, and he brings in his Vaporeon. And I was like, oh god, I've got nothing left to take Vaporeon on with, so that's the game right here. But I do have Shaymin. I just usually expect all Vaporeon to have Ice Beam, because that's the standard for them. And he wishes when I switch in, so I get a free switch, which is quite nice. I substitute to make sure whether it does have Ice Beam or not, and it does, so that kind of dampens me a lot. But I do reckon I could quite easily survive one Ice Beam from here, so I go for Leech Seed just to try and get the Sub-Seed strategy to work. That's pretty much my only hope against Vaporeon at this rate. And I'm left with a good amount of health, just about half HP after the Ice Beam and every recovery form I've got. So I can substitute for a little bit just to try and wear it down. But even with Vaporeon's bulky HP, it didn't recover me enough. I was losing 20 HP every turn, so there was only so long I could do a substitute strategy with. Unfortunately, it's not quite as good as Breloom, who can just survive everything that's thrown at it. But it did eventually weaken Vaporeon enough. Once I had done as many substitutes as I could, it left Vaporeon in a pretty weakened state, and I was banking on him not using Wish at some point in the middle of this, because if he'd used Wish at any point here, then it could have been pretty catastrophic if he also had Protect. But he kept Ice Beaming, so that told me really he either didn't have Protect or didn't want me to get any form of recovery whatsoever. Luckily enough, by the time I'm run out of substitute HP, which is this turn coming, he's in a pretty bashed up state himself, so I have no other choice here. I have to go for Seed Flare, and thankfully it both hits and KOs. So both our Vaporeons went down, and that's pretty key because Vaporeon is pretty useful for its wish healing in terms of team support. It's almost like both of our queens being taken out in a game of chess. Now his Snorlax comes in, and I was thinking if this is Curselax I might be finished, but it has Fire Punch. I hadn't actually seen a Fire Punch one before, although I do know it's a good option. So my Leech Seed does hit, but I then promptly die, so not much going on here. Salamence comes in, puts an Intimidate drop on, gets a Dragon Dance up, but gets paralyzed first time by a Body Slam. So I was getting pretty annoyed at this point because luck really wasn't on my side at all. But I made a completely stupid play here. I should have Dragon Danced, not Dragon Danced, I should have Dragon Clawed, expecting the switch out, but I didn't. I Dragon Danced, and I really don't know why I did that, because I was always going to go second, and Gliscor could kill me with, a blink of an eye, thanks to Stone Edge. And thankfully Swampert resists Rock, so Stone Edge doesn't really do much. I know Earthquake is going to hurt a lot more than that, but Waterfall can take out the Gliscor, which puts to bed another major threat to my team, especially since I can no longer outspeed it with all of my bulky Pokés. He thinks for a while about what to do, but it inevitably does come to an Earthquake. Just, I suppose, because that's as much damage as he could do. And Waterfall finishes it off. So overall, I'm still in a somewhat decent position, I guess. He has Zapdos, which the only reason you would switch in a Zapdos to a Swampert of that higher HP has to be Hidden Power Grass. And he does in fact Hidden Power, so he also has Life Orb. So I knew Thunderbolt was going to come here, and I didn't expect it to do this much damage to my special defensive Heatran. But it did, and unfortunately it doesn't quite die to Lava Plume, and I don't have the same luck he does, so Lava Plume didn't burn to finish it off. I considered a switch here, but I ended up resting because I thought I would just live. He goes to Rooster, so that was a bad move on my part. Thunderbolt will 3-hit KO, so I've got 2 shots with Sleep Talk here. Of course, my luck isn't really that good at all, so I pull Earth Power both times. The only thing that really saved me here was the fact that he was taking Life Orb damage every turn, so by the time he was finished, he was pretty weakened himself, so he took me out, which really did not bode well, but Scizor can come in and at that lower health, even unboosted Bullet Punch will take it out. So Zapdos does die, and I'm still in a somewhat decent position. Snorlax comes in and he makes a misprediction here. He goes for Body Slam. I don't actually know why, but I go Superpower because I've got nothing to lose. I have no choice here. And it doesn't die. Once again, it just lives by like a fraction of its HP. That just about had it for me. But I didn't die because he didn't Fire Punch, and I just wanted to make absolute sure it was going down, so Superpower again was the move to do. Now in comes Scizor as his last Pokemon, and I obviously couldn't stay in, so I went to switch to Salamence to get the Intimidate drop. I was really concerned that it was a Swords Dance one here, but thankfully it wasn't. It's apparently Choice Band in the end. And I kind of worked that out because it didn't have Leftovers, it didn't have Life Orb recoil, and it didn't Swords Dance. So really it was either Lumberry, which could have been a bit strange, or it was Choice Band. And it turns out it was Choice Band, which means although it takes 3 hits to do it, so it's pretty defensive, my Swampert manages to take it out before it finishes me off. So that was it. It ended up with a 2-0 finish, and pretty much the closest game I've had in a long time. Good game, Dissent. thank you guys for watching. See you next time.